I think one of the big revolutions that happened in science was to move from the what you could call a classical physics, which was created by Isaac Newton and Descartes, into the quantum physics of Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg and Schrödinger. And really what that revolution was about was to see that in the classical world, the world was an object. It was out there, like you have something outside. It's out there. It's distant from me. I don't touch it. And in the quantum world, we realize that the observer, the person that looks at the world, is part of the world. The observer and the observed are united. At the moment of making any sort of quantum measurement, any sort of observation, the observer and the observed are united. They form an indivisible whole, an unanalyzable whole, as Bohr said. So that gives us a remarkably new vision of the world, that we're not separate from the world. We don't see the world as something outside ourselves which we can control and predict as an object, that we are the world, we're united with the world. So I think that was the first great revolution of physics in the 20th century, to see that we are united with the world. We and the world are one, we're a whole. And then that brings us to a completely new concept of our relationship to nature, and our relationship to consciousness, and our relationship to mind. You know, is mind something? In Descartes, there was this Cartesian cut between the world of matter, the world of stuff you can touch like that, and the world inside. And with the advent of the quantum theory, we see that maybe there isn't such a dramatic cut. Maybe the world of mind, the world of consciousness, and the world of matter are not so separate. And someone like David Bohm has talked about the fact that even at the level of the electron, at the simplest particle, there is this notion of proto-mind, so that mind was present from the very origin of the universe. One issue with science is that it's always tried to objectify the world, to see the world as an object out there, which we want to study. We want to study the world, we want to find the laws of the world, we want to find the ultimate equations. But that is to oversimplify science, because the scientist also has a great aesthetic sense, a sense of beauty, that the equations of nature, the rules by which we believe nature operates, should be aesthetically beautiful. This was the thing that Einstein said, that somehow the mystery isn't the mystery is that we can actually understand the world. That he felt in that sense he was a profoundly religious man. This was what Einstein had said. He was a profoundly religious man because he had that sense that he could understand the world, and that the underlying rules, the underlying laws of nature are aesthetically beautiful. And the mathematician Roger Penrose has said, when I don't know what to do next, when I'm stuck with this problem, how do I proceed? I do the most beautiful thing possible. And that beauty is a means to an end, and an end in itself. So for the physicist, there is always that sense of beauty and aesthetics, that we're not just finding these abstract rules of nature. We're not just concerned with finding some sort of laws like the laws of nature. We're also concerned with finding something that's very beautiful. So there is that aesthetic sense. And I think today, more than has been happened in the past, I think if you go back to the Renaissance, you realise that the artist, and there was not such thing as a scientist, but the mathematician, the person concerned with understanding how the world worked, they were very close. And I think this closeness is happening today. And I think there are many artists who have a deep interest in science. And I personally have had many interactions with artists, with painters, with people doing installations, with composers, and I think we're all on the same track. We're all moving towards the same goal of finding the beauty underlying the order of music, the beauty underlying the order of art, the beauty underlying the order of nature. So I think we're coming very close together. The artists and the scientists, more than ever now, are trying to work together. I think yes, you could say that maybe we are thinking about a new Renaissance. And there was a very noted physicist, Wolfgang Pauli. Pauli was one of the co-creators, along with Heisenberg and Bohr, of the quantum theory. And Pauli felt that this was a time when there would be a rebirth of spirit in the world. He felt that with Newton and Descartes, the spirit had been banished from the world, and now the time has come for spirit to be reborn in the world. So someone like Pauli, who was a great visionary, and Wolfgang Pauli worked with Carl Jung, the psychologist, really felt that there was what he called the resurrection of spirit in the world. But he also gave a caution. He gave an important caution that physics is also, or science is also, has an obsession with the will to power. So there are two roads we can take. One road is the road of the will to power, the will to control, the will to understand the world and control it. And the other road is the road towards the rebirth of spirit in the world, the rebirth of soul. So I think we're at if you say, are we at a Renaissance, we're at a very crucial point where we could take one of two roads. One road would lead to increasing control, increasing will to power. The other road would lead to a resurrection of spirit in the world. So I think we're at a very crucial point. We have to make a decision. We have to make a decision for the entire planet. Everybody knows that there is this issue of global warming. There's an issue of global dimming. That we have to act very soon. We have to act very soon. Either we abandon this planet and we sort of float away into our world of dreams and fantasies and fantasies about power, or we take control of the world and we take the cure of the world. We have made this problem, and it's a serious problem, and we have to come to terms with it. Are we going to just fade away into fantasies and that everything will take care of itself, or are we going to take care individually of this planet on which we rest our feet? I was born in Liverpool, which was a fantastic place to be born because we had the Beatles. And you know, it was a very vibrant centre. And then I moved to Canada, and I lived in Canada for many years. And maybe I felt a dissatisfaction. While I was in Canada, I became involved with running some circles with Native Americans. These were with Blackfoot people, Ojibwe and Cree. And we had a number of circles where the Native Americans and Western scientists would sit together. And I'd like to say a little bit about that now. The thing was about these particular groups of Native. There are many different Native American groups, as the Mohawks, the Iroquois, but these Cree, Blackfoot, and Ojibwe all spoke part of a family of languages, which is called Algonquin. And this family of languages is very much verb-based, so it's very much a process-based language. And the vision that the Blackfoot had of the world is it's a world of process, it's a world of change, it's a world of transformation. Everything is in flux. And it turns out that this way of seeing the world is very, very close to the way that the new physics sees the world. We in the new physics see the world as process and change. So that when we sat together with the Blackfoot, there was a great communion. There was a lot of things we could share together. That we saw that yes, the world is process, it's flux, it's change. It's not a set of objects. The world that Isaac Newton and classical physicists had put together was a world of objects in interaction. That you begin with the object, you begin with a noun, you begin with the word, and these words interact together. But when you see the world of the Blackfoot, You see it's a world of process and change. It's very close maybe to the ideas of the Hindus, that the world is being breathed into existence and breathed out. The world is constantly coming into existence and fading away. It's not an object. These things are not objects. These are things that are coming into existence and going out of existence. So we felt an enormous communion with the Blackfoot, with their way of seeing the world as something that's always in flux, in change and process. And I think that gave me a new way of, it gave me a mirror to see my own world. And as a result of that, I thought, I want to leave North America and go somewhere else. So we came to this little village here of Pari in Tuscany, which is just like 20 kilometers south of Siena. It's a medieval village. People have lived here as they've lived for hundreds of years. And we decided to create a center here called the Pari Center, where people could come, they could come and paint, they could come and write, they could come for a course on new physics or synchronicity or art, science and the sacred, and we also ran some conferences. So we saw this center as it serves two functions. One function is a place where people can come and spend a little time in this beautiful countryside and eat fantastic food. But the other function is that the village itself was, in a sense, it has started to die. The population had dropped from 1,000 to 200, and we thought by bringing people in, by bringing in new ideas, maybe we can help the village to survive. So essentially that's what we're doing at the Pari Center. It's an experiment. It's I began life as a physicist, and I see this as another experiment, or maybe even better to see it as a work of art. It's an artwork. It's a way of seeing, can we create something in which creativity can bubble up and transform something. So that's the Pari Center.